Hey guys, Tomboy601, and today we have a review of Pommern, the all-new Tier 8 German battleship that is part of the campaign reward. We're going to be talking about its stats of the commander, the modules, the build, all of that good jazz. Then we will be showing off a game in it, so if that sounds good, make sure you stay tuned. So with all that said, let's kick it off with the commander, and we are running the good old Henry J. Hyde. Now, Henry Hyde is he's the hybrid commander. He gives us both the ability to have decently accurate guns and also long range secondaries at the cost of not having will to rebuild. Pretty good trade off. We are running Haruna and Von Hipper, and then we are running Flammable Cannoneer, Porcupine, Marksman, Master Mechanic, and finally Fight Fire with Fire. Then as far as our mod slots go, we have a secondary battery mod 2, steering gears, concealment mod, and finally the main battery mod 3. After that, let's go ahead and dive on into those consumables. So first up, we have that damage control party. Damage control party is going to last 15 seconds, reload in 80 seconds. Cool. Repair party is going to heal 466 health over 28 seconds, i.e. that's going to be 13,048 health per proc of it. And it's going to reload in 73.6 seconds, and you're going to get 5 charges of it. After that, we have the enhanced secondary battery. We all know what that does. We get 3 charges of it. And then finally, we get a relatively short duration sonar, 4-kilometer detectability on torp, 6-kilometer detectability on boats, 80-second or 60-second duration, and a 100-second reload time. And you're going to have 2 charges of it. So those are all of its consumables. Next, let's go ahead and dive on into those stats. So Pommern, 86,320 hit points, making it one of the more durable boats at the tier. Armor thickness is between 19 and 400 meters. Let's go ahead and take a look at that armor because, well, it is definitely a well-armored boat. You can see we do have a nice big 60 millimeter icebreaker bow up front, giving you some protection while in close range brawls and going nose in, especially when you're up against things like a Musashi or a Yamato. Having where the majority of your bow is able to bounce those shells is always going to be very nice. Of course, they can still overpen the top bit of that bow because it's 32 millimeters. The deck, very well armored as well, going between 50 and 150 millimeters. But you can still take some pretty big hits through it because, well, we do still have a turtleback, and turtleback tends to be a little bit more vulnerable to long-range shots. And then we can go and take a look at the Citadel sitting just above the waterline there. So that is the armor. As far as torpedo reduction looks, you're looking at 25%. Final stat I want to talk about is total potential health. So that's the amount of health that you can have on this ship if you used every single heal and it healed its full amount every single time. You're looking at 151,600 health, which is it's a big tanky ship, but you're going to be taking some big not so tanky hits. Main battery for the ship, you're going to have 4 3-barreled 380 millimeter guns with a firing range of 18.6 kilometers, reload time of 29.7 seconds, giving you a shells per minute of 24. The 180 time on those guns, 42.4 seconds. HE damage, you're doing 4,400, giving you a DPM of 105,600 and a 34% chance to set fire. AP damage, you're going to be doing 11,600, giving you a DPM of 278,400. And well, one thing to talk about with these guns, they ain't that accurate. You may struggle to hit some people at some times. Secondaries, what is supposed to be one of the features of a German battleship. We have 8 2-barreled 105 millimeter secondaries and 6 2-barreled 150 millimeter secondaries. They're going to have a range of 11 kilometers with this this build. The 105s, you're looking at a 3.3 second reload. They're going to be doing 1,200 damage, and they're going to have a 5% chance to set fire. The 150s, you're looking at 7.5 second reload, 1,700 damage, 8% chance to set fire, and that's going to give you a total secondary DPM of 512,290, making it honestly mid-tier for the DPM on those secondaries. A lot of other ships actually have better secondary DPM or theoretical secondary DPM than Pommern does, which is a bit wild, but of course we have a lot more range than a lot of the other ships do. Torpedoes, you're looking at two 4-railed 533 millimeter torpedoes with a reload time of 90 seconds. They're going to do 13,700 damage. They're going to have a range, a detectability range of 1.3 kilometers, a top speed of 64 knots, and a range of 6 kilometers. AA, anti-aircraft, you're looking at a 4.5 kilometer range and a fairly respectable 133 at minimum damage, and it will go up to 362, which is on the lower side for a battleship, or for the battleships at the tier. Finally, next we have maneuverability. Max speed of the vessel 31 knots with a turning radius of 940 meters, making it one of the least maneuverable battleships at the tier, and with a rudder shift time of 14.7 seconds. Finally, concealment 13.7 kilometers by sea, 11.5 by air, and 14.6 when firing in smoke. And that is all you need to know about good old Pommern. So let's go ahead and dive on into a match with her. So welcome to Dos Hermanos, two brothers, and well, like I said, we're in good old Pommern. I'll be honest, guys. Pommern, I don't know if I really enjoy this ship. It's a bit of a weird design decision. So if you're not aware, basically what Pommern is the tier 8 equivalent to the Tirpitz, right? Bismarck is to Frederick de Grobe, or Frederick de Gross, as Tirpitz is to Pommern. Except the downsides you take to get the torpedoes on Pommern feel a lot worse than the downsides you get to take the torpedoes on Tirpitz. So on Tirpitz, the trade-off is secondary battery range, right? The trade-off here is main battery shell grouping, main battery accuracy, the Sigma. And as a result, you do struggle to find yourself being able to do damage when you have ships that should be easy kills, easy shots, because your shells just bracket all over the place. And you still have decent secondaries, as we talked about earlier. They're not the best at the tier by DPM. They do have some of the best range, but you're gonna struggle. Like, here we are, beautiful shot on the Minotaur right there, out in the water, out open broadside, and we get a Citadel. We get 2 hits out of 6. Not exactly the best, especially when you consider if we were in something else, he might have been dev struck there. If not, he would be a lot lower in health. And you're gonna do this pretty much all game, right? You're like, main batteries are still the primary way you're going to do damage. Another 2 hits on Minotaur there. They're the primary way you're supposed to do damage in this game. And if you can't rely on them, you're not gonna have a great time. The German battleships, they haven't had the best accuracy, but they had good enough accuracy. And I think Pommern just goes over that hill just a little bit too much. And what are you getting for that ability? What are you getting? Well, you get torpedo racks. Are they well protected torpedo racks? No. If you're going to be in a brawling situation, you may very well end up losing those torpedo racks. Or if you have an HE spammer, if you just happen to be across from a German or from a British battleship when you spawn and they're on the full HE train, you may just end up losing those torpedo racks early game because they decide to fire HE, and there's nothing you can really do about it. Showing off the good old torpedo detection right here as we take a big punch from him. We're going to go ahead and throw our torpedoes into the Prince Ruprecht, and you can see we don't take him down with ours, so we're just kind of waiting on these guns to get back up, and he's going to go in for the ram. So you end up with a little bit of a struggle because you're giving up the primary way you engage with the rest of this game for for some torpedoes. Is it worth it? To me, no. Additionally, and I'll be honest, this is something I don't know if this is a common thing with Frederick de Gross, but I feel like my turrets get knocked incredibly easy in this ship. I've had multiple games where you just get them knocked. I've had games where I lost both my front turrets, and for a ship where yes, being able to turn out and try to kite someone in would be the optimal way to be able to play this battleship. Get them into the secondary range and kite them while you're able to engage them with secondaries. Bow in is also going to be a way that this ship is supposed to be able to perform well because it has that icebreaker bow. It's supposed to be able to get up and brawl, and for its turrets to be able to be knocked so easy really puts that into question whether that all is legitimately worth it. That's once again just my 2 cents. So as you can see, we've kind of pushed our way up to this section. We're trying to take A, and we're gonna try to begin engaging these folks here. Part of one of the other issues I have with Pommern, and this is just a German battleship being a German battleship thing, is you got a lot of HP up in that superstructure. So even if you're well angled against a battleship at long range, you can still take massive hits into the superstructure, and they may even be penning into the deck. I'm not 100% sure, but you can still take some pretty nasty hits, even when you are what you would consider to be fairly well angled. And that's kind of the thing is, with the German battleships, you're supposed to kind of play at range, try to get up close into some island cover, maybe, survive to the later game where you can then use your secondaries, use the torpedo range. But getting to those locations where you can survive sometimes takes so much health out of you that you need to then rest and regroup for the mid game because you are just popping all of the heals that you have, waiting for them to come off of cooldown so that you have a respectable amount of hit points in order to begin engaging again. That is a very common theme I've had with the Pommern is, I spend the majority of my HP or a good chunk of my HP in the early game just trying to get to a location where I know I'll be able to have influence in the later game, if that makes sense. And then having to rest, regroup, and burn all of my heals to get some sort of health back. That's if that's a fun play style to you, good. I'm happy for you. For me, not so much. So, we're gonna start pushing in here, and I want to talk about, is Pommern worth it? I'll be honest. Campaigns usually worth it for the materials alone, and we know that ships will receive a buff. I don't know if Pommern's going to receive a buff. I think it's just maybe because this is kind of the way it is on PC. I think this might just be a flawed gimmick, right? You give up primary battery stuff, and you will receive torpedoes. I think maybe that's just a flawed gimmick on this point, and therefore maybe not worth actually going up. Here we are. I'm concentrating on Des Moines. I'll be honest. I thought the Heinrich in the back was a friendly. I was very tired, and that's going to end up taking me down. But to me, I don't know if I would buy out this campaign. I would look at myself and say, hey, are the crates worth it? If the crates are worth it, maybe go pick yourself up the campaign. If not, maybe save the money. Go pick up, wait and see what the Azure Lane commanders are next week, because for nearly the same money, you'll probably be able to buy one of those, and we know how those tend to change up the meta. So, guys, that's my Pommern review. If you liked the video, go ahead, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. See ya.